Good morning, students. I hope you are well at home. For taking care of yourself, I have COVID-19 vowels for you. You know vowels? A, E, I, O, U. A for avoid close contact. E, every couple of hours wash hand with soap. I, if you have cough and difficulty in breathing, contact your doctor. O, once a day do exercise. U, use face mask. I hope you understood. All these vowels of COVID-19 will help you out to take care of your family members as well as for you. Now we'll come to the topic. Today we'll discuss about the topic the changing earth. Before starting of the topic, we'll give you some information. You know, the famous geologist J. Tuzo Wilson, he gave one sentence: the earth, instead of appearing as an inert statue, is a living mobile thing. I repeat, the earth, instead of appearing as an inert statue, is a living mobile thing. The sentence clearly tells that the nature of the earth is dynamic. Since the time it came into being, it is undergoing several changes. For thousands of years, people believed that the continents were fixed in their position. The distribution of land and water, however, has not always been the same on the Earth's surface as it is today. We observe millions of geological changes on the face of the Earth. To explain the current position of the continents and the ocean, several scientists put forth different theories. The foremost attempt was made by Alfred Wegener in 1912, and the theory which was given by Alfred Wegener was called as theory of continental drift. And the theory of continental drift, you can say, is the main reason for the changes which are taking place on the Earth's surface. So now today we'll discuss about the theory and about the after effects of the theory, the movement on the Earth's surface. In this chapter, you will learn about endogenic forces, exogenic forces, theory of continental drift, movement of tectonic plates, volcanoes and its type, earthquake and earthquake waves. Now, if you remember, in the last chapter we discussed about inside the earth, means Earth's interior. That means you know that on the Earth's surface or inside the Earth's surface we have three concentric layers. Uppermost layer is crust or lithosphere. The second layer is mantle, or the third layer is core. The outermost layer or the crustal part is again divided into two parts, that is continental crust and oceanic crust. Second layer of the earth, mantle, again we have two divisions, upper mantle and lower mantle. In the same manner, for the outer layer also we have two divisions, outer core, inner core. That means on this concentric layer we can say we are living on the uppermost layer of the Earth's surface. On this uppermost layer of the Earth's surface we have different kinds of landforms. oceanic bodies are there, landforms are there. But as I gave just now one sentence given by famous geologist, the earth, instead of appearing as an inert statue, is a living mobile thing. That means the position, the size, you can say the shape of the landforms of the continents are changing continuously. That means it's a living thing. It's not only a statue, it's a living, it's a mobile. It's moving from one place to another place. So we are going to discuss in this chapter about these kind of changes which are taking place on the earth's surface. So first, okay, as in this picture you can see it's written over here Pangaea. Then what does it mean? What is the meaning of Pangaea? So Pangaea is a hypothetical supercontinent that included all current land masses believed to have been in existence before the continents broke apart during the Jurassic and the Jurassic period. An example of Pangaea is a massive continent that contained Eurasia, North America, India, Australia, Antarctica, Africa and South America. That means in this Pangaea, which was a supercontinent, that means millions of years ago all continents were together. As you can see in this map also, all continents were together. Here we have North America, here we have Eurasia, South America, Africa, Antarctica, Australia and India. That means all these continents were together during that time. That supercontinent was called as Pangaea. But as just now we discussed, the continents, the landforms, all these were not stable, they were mobile. So continents, they started drifting from their original place. And the reason was the continental drift, theory of continental drift given by Alfred Wegener. We'll discuss about the theory in detail little later. When these continents started displacing from their place, started drifting from their places, then they started drifting in opposite direction. That means opposite direction, and finally this Pangaea divided into two parts. Here you can see in the next picture, you can see the southern part was called as Laurasia, or you can say the Angara land, and the southern part was called as Gondwana land. In the northern part we had the continents, whatever continents we have in northern hemisphere nowadays. In the southern part or the Gondwana land, we had the continents which are there in the southern hemisphere nowadays. In between Laurasia and Gondwana, we had this Tethys Sea. You can see over here, here we have Tethys Sea. Here is the northern part of this Pangaea, that was called as Laurasia, and the southern division of the Pangaea, that was called Gondwana. Now, just now, because we have given the things that the Pangaea divided into two parts, and because the displacement was there, these continents, they drifted from their original location. So when these continents started drifting from their original location, then this full lithospheric part divided into some major and some minor plates. Those plates itself will be called as continental plates, or here you can see, here it is given plate margin. This is the plate margin, means the boundary of the continental plate. Here this is the plate margin. Here also you can see the plate margin or the boundary of the continental plate. So in geographical term it will be called as plate margin. Now in this picture you can see easily that the division was there, the displacement of the continents were there. So in the first situation the Pangaea was there, you can see over here the Pangaea which we already discussed, supercontinent Pangaea 225 million years ago. Now 135 million years ago, see the location of the continents. These continents, they drifted little and this Pangaea divided into two parts. One is Laurasia and another one Gondwana. As you can see in this picture also, Laurasia means you can say the included the continents of North America, Asia, Europe, and the Gondwana included the continent of South America, Africa, and southern part of India, Antarctica, and Australia. That means the part which are lying in the southern hemisphere nowadays, those continents were the part of the Gondwana, and the continents which are lying in the northern hemisphere nowadays, those were the part of Laurasia or the Angara land. Now come to the next, third stage. Now 65 million years ago, you can see here again the continents, they displace, they move apart from each other. North America, Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, India, Australia, Antarctica. Now in the fourth stage, which is the present situation, now in this stage you can see the location of the continent is in the same manner. Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, South America, North America. That means these continents, they drifted slowly, and now this is the present situation or the present location of the continents. And what is the reason? Simply because of the continental plate, you can say the displacement of the continents because of the heat which generated inside the Earth's surface. Children, the changes which are taking place on the Earth's surface, they are basically because of two forces. One is endogenic forces, second is exogenic forces. Combinedly, these forces or the processes will be called as geomorphic processes or the earth movements. So these two processes which are taking place on the earth surface or inside the earth surface are responsible for the changes which are taking place on the earth surface. So first we'll discuss about endogenic force. Endogenic forces, we have two categories, slow movement and sudden movement. Again, slow movement, further classification is there, vertical movement or horizontal movement. Vertical movement can be upward vertical movement or it can be downward, and the horizontal movement can be which will be responsible for generation of compressional force or it can be responsible for generation of tensional force. When the compressional force will work, there can be chance of formation of fold mountain on the earth's surface. But when the tensional force will work, then there will be chance of fault or the crack on the earth's surface which can be changed into block mountain. If we look at the sudden movement, then sudden movement, simply because of the, you can say because it is totally dependent on the speed. The movement will take place suddenly, then it can be responsible for volcanism. Volcanism means simply when the volcanic eruption will take place. And the second is it can be earthquake on the earth's surface because of sudden movement. So endogenic forces which are taking place inside the earth's surface. Now if we look at the another category, we have exogenic force. Exogenic force means the forces which are taking place on the earth's surface. So three processes are there in exogenic force. One is weathering, second is erosion, third is deposition. I hope you know the meaning of all these three terms. If don't, then let us revise. Weathering is breaking of rocks into smaller pieces with the help of agents like running water, glacier, wind. Erosion, carrying of weathered material from one place to another place with the help of agents like running water, glacier, winds. You can see over here, in running water we can include the water which is in moving position. Stable water cannot do anything. Groundwater, again waves and the currents. We are talking about oceanic waves and oceanic currents. Glacier, what is the meaning of glacier? It's a slow moving river of ice. Again, it is also in a moving position. If you look at wind, wind is, what is the meaning of wind? It's a moving air. Again, moving air. So, we can see over here the agents which are helping these processes on the earth's surface, those are in moving position. If we look at the third category, we have deposition. So, weathered material carried from one place to another place with the help of erosional process. Now, those eroded material will get deposited at one place with the help of running water, groundwater, glacier, waves and currents and winds. So that depositional part means when the carried material will be settled at one place, that process will be called as deposition. So all these three processes, weathering, erosion and deposition, will change the size as well as shape of the landform on the earth's surface. And the agents are running water, glacier, winds. In weathering process you can see physical, chemical and biological. These three agents are also there. Physical, some human activities, chemical reaction can be there, biological, some animals can change the change the size and the shape of the landform. Okay. Now, what is plate tectonic? I'm talking about plate tectonic. I'm giving again and again same thing, that these changes will take place because of the movement of the tectonic plates. What does it mean? So, tectonic plate simply is a scientific theory describing the large scale motion of 7 large plates and the movement of a large number of smaller plates of the Earth's lithosphere. Now here, what does mean lithosphere? It is outermost layer of the earth, that means crustal part, where the different kind of landforms are there. So the plates which are moved in various directions and float independently, that means what they are saying, float independently. These plates will move in different directions. Some plates will move in upward movement, some plates will move in a downward movement, some plates will move towards the east direction and some plates will move towards the west direction. And the main thing is these plates are floating. Like if I'll give you example, like suppose we have one bucket of water. If you'll keep one piece of wood on that water, then in the same manner like the wood is floating on a water, in the same manner these plates are floating on magma. Okay, the plates collide. When they will collide, when the plates will move in a same direction facing towards each other, then the plates will collide. Pull apart, when they will move in opposite direction, they will move apart from each other or scrape against. When these plates will slightly pass from each other, that time it will scrape only. Each motion causes different type of features on the earth's crust. When the things are moving in same direction, they will collide with each other. That time earthquake can be possible. When the plates are moving in opposite direction, pull apart from each other, that time volcanic eruption can be possible. And when these plates are scraping against each other, that time minor vibration on the earth's surface can be possible, or it can be possible like the rock will break into pieces, nothing else. So now come to the fourth point. The word tectonic refers to changes in the crust because of plate interaction. One more thing is there, very important part, that these plates move continuously but very slow at the rate of about a few millimeter every year. That means we cannot observe that movement of the tectonic plates. It's not like that today the continent position is here and tomorrow it will be somewhere else. You cannot observe that movement because it is very, very slow. The next thing is, whatever, like why the plates are moving. Plates are moving because of energy. What energy? Because of heat present inside the earth's surface. As we already discussed in the last chapter, that inside the earth's surface, as we are going deeper side, deep to the earth, that means as we are going, then after every 165 meter depth, 1 degree centigrade temperature will increase. Now if the temperature is increasing, that means heat is there. Okay, so that heat will only give energy for the movement of these tectonic plates. Okay, and the next thing is, these tectonic activities, you can say these movement of plates can be like the tectonic activities can be like earthquake can be possible on the earth's surface, volcanicity can be possible. Now what does volcanicity means? That means eruption of a volcano. Whenever the volcano will erupt, that activity itself is called as volcanicity. So volcanicity can be possible, earthquake can be possible, but these possibilities are there only along the margins of the continents. Okay. Now here we have tectonic plates, major plates and the minor plates. If you look at the list, then we have Pacific plate, which is the largest one. Then we have North American, Eurasian, Europe and Asian. Both plate combinedly it will be called as Eurasian plate. African plate, Antarctic plate, Australian plate, South American plate. These are the major tectonic plates. Now come to the minor plates. Somali plate, Caribbean plate, Cocos plate, Caroline plate, Juan de Fuca plate, Burma plate, New Hebrides plate, Yankees plate, Nazca plate, Scotia plate, Amazon plate, Sunda plate, Philippine Sea plate, and Ocostic plate and Arabian plate. These are some major and the minor tectonic plates, and these plates divided only because of the movement of this magma inside the earth's surface, which created energy and which you can say motivate the crustal part also to move. Now here in the map you can see the plates over here. See, Eurasian plate. Okay, I'm talking about the major plate first. Eurasian plate, then we have Pacific plate, we have North American plate, we have African plate, we have South American plate, we have Eurasian plate, half part is given over here, half part is given over here, okay, and we have Antarctic plate. These are the major tectonic plates. Now if we look at the minor plates, then we have Burma, we have Somali, we have Arabian, we have Caribbean, we have Caucasus, we have Nazca, we have Scotia. All these names just now I have given to you. And look at the arrows. Here you can see the keys given over here. With the red boundaries, they have given plate boundaries. That means plate margins. Tectonic plate margins are given with the help of red color boundary. But what about the directions? With the help of this blue arrow, they have given directions of plate movement. That means with the help of this direction, you can understand that in which direction this particular plate is moving. Like if you look at the example of this Pacific plate, direction says that this Pacific plate is moving towards northwestern direction. If you look at the Eurasian plate, then Eurasian plate is moving towards southeastern direction. That means these two plates are moving in a same direction, facing towards each other. If they are moving towards each other, that means it can be the earthquake prone areas, because these two plates will collide with each other and can be responsible for the earthquake on the earth's surface. Okay, in the same manner you can see this Indo-Australian plate, both India as well as the Australian plate, both are moving towards northeast direction. That means with the help of these arrows, you can understand the movement of the tectonic plate. According to the movement of the tectonic plates, we can understand the after effects or the consequences on the earth's surface, whether destruction will take place or construction will take place. Like you can see over here, South American plate and African plate. South American plate and African plate, with the help of this arrow, you can understand that these two plates are moving in opposite direction. When these two plates are moving in opposite direction, that means here the formation of fault or crack will be there. From that crack, the volcanic eruption will take place. Yes, that means because they will move in opposite direction, tensional force will work. When the tensional force will work, there will be formation of crack over here and the volcanic eruption will take place. In this condition, Pacific or Eurasian plate, compressional force will work because these two plates are moving towards each other. So these two plates moving towards each other, compressional force will work. It can be possible like these two plates will collide with each other and earthquake will take place on the earth's surface. It can be responsible for formation of fold mountain also. So compressional force can cause destruction and construction on the earth's surface. In the same manner, tensional force can be responsible for construction. As the volcanic eruption will take place, that volcanic mountain will form, and destruction when these two plates will move apart each other, then at one point of time it will be tension on the earth's surface. The crack will form, and because of that tension the earthquake can be possible. Okay, I hope you understood this concept. Come to the next slide. There are three types of tectonic plates. On the basis of their movement, we have categorized these tectonic plates. First is divergent tectonic plate. Divergent tectonic plate will move in opposite direction. Second is convergent tectonic plate, which will move in same direction facing towards each other. The third is transform tectonic plate, which will just slide down or pass from each other. Convergent tectonic plate. A convergent boundary is an area on the earth where two or more lithospheric plates collide. One plate eventually slides beneath the other, causing a process known as subduction. Now what does it mean? You can see over here, the subduction zone can be defined by the plane where many earthquakes occur, called a Benioff zone. In this diagram, in this picture, you can see easily that one plate, this plate is sliding beneath the another plate. Yes, you can see here we have another plate. These two lithospheric plates are moving towards each other, but suddenly what happened? Instead of collision, which thing will take place over here, this plate is sliding beneath the another plate. The part which got slide slowly it will get melt because of the temperature of the molten material. Here we have molten material, magma is here. So because of that heat, this part of this continental plate or the lithospheric plate will melt down. That means destruction will take place. Okay, and this subduction zone, where this subduction zone is there, here we have lock also. You know, here you can see this completely, this particular part is a earthquake zone area because of this collision. First the things will collide, then the lithospheric plate will move or slide beneath the another plate. Okay, so convergent boundaries occur between oceanic and oceanic lithosphere. It can be between oceanic and continental lithosphere, and it can be between continental and continental lithosphere. Okay, what do you mean over here? That means we already discussed in the last chapter that the crustal or the lithospheric part, we have two categories. Yes, we have continental crust and we have oceanic crust. Okay, in the oceanic bodies we have that ocean floor. Yes, that will be called as oceanic crust. And the continent, you know that on the continents only we are living. Okay, that means it can be oceanic lithospheric part and oceanic lithospheric part. Means oceanic crust with another oceanic crust can collide, and the oceanic and the continental lithospheric part can collide, and the continental or the continental lithospheric part can collide. Okay, in this one, the another picture you can see over here, that one thing is, this is a cross section of this picture only. In this one you can understand easily, the one lithospheric plate is sliding beneath another one. This is one situation when convergent tectonic plates are there. In another situation, that when convergent boundaries are there, that means the plates are moving towards each other, then these two plates can collide and it can be responsible for earthquake on the earth's surface. It can be possible when these two plates are moving towards each other instead of collision, instead of the part is going beneath the another lithospheric part, it can be possible that there will be upliftment of the lithospheric part, and which will cause, you can say, which will cause for the formation of fold mountain on the earth's surface. Come to the next category. First, before starting with the next category, look at the video carefully, then you will understand. In this one you can see, at this place the lithospheric plate is going beneath under the another plate. Here we have log zone. You can see over here, the movement is the lithospheric part is uplifting. Yes, the coast range is rising over here. Okay. Now come to the next category. Then we have divergent tectonic plates. In plate tectonic, a divergent boundary or divergent plate boundary, also known as constructive boundary or an extensional boundary, is a linear feature that exists between two tectonic plates that are moving away from each other. Okay, now look at this picture, first picture. In this picture you can see easily, here we have lithosphere, then we have asthenosphere, then we have this molten material magma. With these arrows you can understand that convectional currents are moving in opposite direction. That means magma is moving in opposite direction. When this lithospheric part is floating on this magma, then where the magma will move in the same direction, the lithosphere will also try to move. Then what will happen? You can see over here the crack formed. Okay, until or unless there is opening, the magma will move in a cyclic manner. It will move up, it will come down, it will come up, it will come down. But as the fault or the crack will form on the earth's surface because of opposite movement of the lithospheric plate, this magma will come up and will solidify. Okay, now in this one you can see easily upwelling magma. The magma is coming up and it is coming from this particular part. It can be possible that magma depends upon the width of the crack only or the fault only. If it is very narrow, the magma will come out and it will spread over here and it will create a new crustal layer. It will form a new crustal layer and that activity will be called as, or the action will be called as, sea floor spreading. If this crack is very wide, then what will happen? This magma will come out and will solidify on the earth's surface. That means volcanic eruption will take place. When number of times volcanic eruption will take place from the same place, it will form a full conical shape mountain region over here. Okay, come to the next one. Before starting with the next, just look at the video once. See, over here the magma is moving in opposite direction, crack formed, the white crack, the magma is coming out. See, the arrows are showing that lithosphere is moving in opposite direction, and here the crack is forming mid-oceanic ridge. That means volcanic mountain will take place. The full chain will form over here because of this volcanic eruption. Okay, come to the next category. Then we have transform tectonic plates. Transform boundaries are places where plates slide side away past each other. So in this one you can understand these two plates are simply, they are sliding way past other, nothing else. As the plates rub, these two plates are rubbing from this particular place. When these plates rub against each other, huge stress can cause portions of the rock to break. So simply some part of this rock will break because of that stress, and sometimes it can cause very minor earthquake on the earth's surface. So as transform boundaries, lithosphere is neither created nor destroyed. So there will be no construction, no destruction. Many transform boundaries are found on the sea floor where they connect segments of diverging mid-oceanic ridges. California's San Andreas Fault is a transform boundary. So we have given one example also. Now come to the video for the transform. You can see how these plates will simply slide away from each other. See, simply they are sliding, they are rubbing each other, nothing else. Okay. Now in this picture you can see whatever things were discussed till now. First thing is, see, this is oceanic crust. Okay, oceanic crust. these two oceanic crusts are moving in opposite direction. Now when the sea floor spreading will take place, what does sea floor spreading mean over here? That I already gave you, just again will repeat the same definition. Sea floor spreading means that new sea floor formed as a result of moving a part of the lithospheric plate. That means when these lithospheric plates will move in opposite direction, so from this particular place, as a crack will form first, this magma will come out and it will spread on the lithospheric, on this oceanic crust. That means new oceanic crust will form. Second thing, look at this area. Here we have subduction zone. Okay, that means this particular plate and this particular plate which is moving in a same direction. Of course, one plate is going beneath to another. That means there will be melting of continental plate over here. So as these plates moving towards each other, you can see that one plate is going beneath the another plate. When the plate will melt down over here, it will increase temperature or heat inside the earth's surface. Because of increased heat, because of increased pressure, there will be crack on the another side, and that will create a crack. So you can say reason for the volcanic eruption or situation for the formation of crack, and it will cause a volcanic eruption on the earth's surface. Okay? Yes, students. Now we'll recapitulate the topic with the help of one video.
Are you sure this thing is rated for this depth? You bought it from an Air Mall catalog. Oh, great. Dear Tim and Moby, when I look at a map, it seems like some continents fit together perfectly. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? From Georgia. You're not seeing things, Georgia. Some continents look exactly like puzzle pieces that snap together. Early map makers suspected that they were once all connected. In the early 20th century, a scientist named Alfred Wegener called this supercontinent Pangaea. He thought different chunks of it broke off and slowly moved apart. Over millions of years, they formed the continents we know today. Wegener couldn't explain why Pangaea split up or how. But there was some evidence to support his idea. Fossils from similar plants and animals had been found oceans apart. The age and type of rock layers matched up too. Wegener's theory of continental drift provided an explanation, but his ideas weren't taken seriously until long after he died. In the 1950s, scientists began mapping the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It's a mountain range running 10,000 miles along the ocean floor. Tests revealed that the farther you got from the ridge, the older the seafloor was. So a geologist named Harry Hess proposed a revolutionary idea. New seafloor was forming at the ridge and spreading outward to make room for more. In other words, the surface of the planet was moving. Hess called this process seafloor spreading. It seemed to indicate that rock was being forced up from inside the planet. Nowadays, we can see this rock formation in action. Wegener had guessed something like this, but he had no way to prove it at the time. As he suspected, there's a lot going on beneath the Earth's surface. Up here, everything seems pretty cool and stable. But miles below our feet, it's a raging inferno. The deeper you go, the hotter it gets. Earth's center, or core, is as scorching as the surface of the sun. All that energy wants to escape, like steam inside a boiling kettle. It pushes outward, putting immense pressure on the middle section, the mantle. Standing in its way is the lithosphere, a rigid layer of solid rock. Well, the lithosphere isn't like a smooth shell. It's cracked into pieces, each one a different shape, size, and thickness. We call those pieces plates. Yep, the mid-Atlantic ridge is the border between several plates. They're being dragged apart by forces from deep inside the planet. You can think of it like a pot of soup. The Earth's core is the burner, and the mantle is the boiling soup. As the soup near the burner heats up, it becomes less dense and rises. When it gets to the top, it cools off and sinks down toward the heat. In physics, those are called convection currents. A similar process is driving the mantle, and it's taking the plates along for the ride. That movement is called plate tectonics. It's the engine driving the constant transformation of our planet's surface. Plates have been bouncing off each other for eons. The oceans have expanded and contracted. Land masses have smashed into each other and broken apart. The plates move about as fast as your fingernails grow, so we don't see the ground sliding around under our feet, but we do sometimes feel it. Yep, I'm talking about earthquakes. Seismic activity is greatest along plate borders, at convergent boundaries where two plates collide, at divergent boundaries where they pull apart, and at transform boundaries where they slide past each other. At all three boundaries, there's enormous pressure on the Earth's crust. That's the topmost layer of the lithosphere. The pressure can build up for years. The longer it takes to release, the bigger the earthquake. Yep, and plate movement drives volcanic activity too. At divergent boundaries, like the mid-Atlantic ridge, there's a gap in the lithosphere. So magma, molten rock from the mantle, is constantly pushing up along the boundaries. These are the most volcanically active places on Earth. Volcanoes are also common at boundaries called subduction zones. That's when a dense ocean plate converges with a lighter continental plate. The heavier plate gets pushed below, down into the mantle. Some of it melts, and the magma erupts farther inland. The Ring of Fire is a massive chain of these volcanoes. Dense sedimentary rock making up the Pacific seafloor is subducted, transformed into metamorphic rock through pressure and heat, and then recycled as igneous rock through volcanic eruptions. In other words, plate tectonics drives the rock cycle, the constant process of transformation and renewal of the Earth's crust. It also creates our most prominent geologic features, mountain ranges. That happens when two continental plates converge. Since they're both about the same density, neither one subducts. Instead, it's like a slow-motion car crash. The plates buckle and warp. The land pushes up into jagged peaks. The Himalayas are still growing from a plate collision that began 500 million years ago. Yeah, Alfred Wegener's theory has come a long way in 100 years. He was practically laughed out of the scientific community for his ideas. But today, plate tectonics is the unifying theory that ties together the entire field of geology. What do you mean, out of juice? We're stuck here? Ah! Now what? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.